The moment that you decide to deal with a man, you are signing up for a humiliation ritual to be done on you.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I am going to be doing a video inspired by a couple other creators. I'm going to put some screenshots of the videos that I watched that really inspired me. And I'm going to be giving my own take on the situation with Liz. Some of you guys may know her. She does motivational content, manifestation content, more like life coach, kind of like a Share 7, but more like mental, psychological, feminine stuff. And I really like her a lot. And she's been in the headlines lately. Now, I thought this was kind of insane because she doesn't really get, like, in the news like that. Like, she's one of those very private, very, you know, withdrawn people. She has a lot of discretion towards her. So she's not someone where she's super accessible, nor her information. Her life was pretty private. So when I saw that she was in the headlines, I thought it was kind of crazy because she doesn't give I'm gonna be with someone for clout and da 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 da. Like, she doesn't give that. And when I saw it was about relationships, I thought that was insane. Now, I didn't know she was married, but I guess she's married. She's pregnant, and she's a few months in, and she finds out that her partner has been not only cheating but cheating with someone who I believe was a sex worker. And this woman came to her and basically confessed everything and told her everything. And we're going to get into that in a bit because that's definitely something. But I want to make this video about intelligence versus intuition, experience versus advice, and how to use pattern recognition, how to use deductive reasoning, how to use the process of elimination to understand what's in front of you. Some people might find these words boring and feel like, oh, is it that deep? But it is. This is your life. And if you want certain outcomes in life and you want to avoid other ones, you need to know what you're dealing with. So you got to take these things seriously. So I actually want to play a video for you guys that I saw that I thought was really interesting, just so you can get an idea of where my opinion is. So sit back and enjoy.
The second you become in proximity to a man, you are signing up to be humiliated. This is why a lot of y'all want to hide your relationships. I don't want anyone to know who I'm with. I don't want anyone to know about my man. Yeah, because you don't want to be publicly humiliated. You know that if everyone knows who you're in a relationship with, when he fucks up, then everyone's going to know about it. So you all already know that you all get publicly humiliated when you are dealing with a man, no matter what, regardless. Although I feel terrible for the wizard Liz, I cannot say that I am shocked. They entered their relationship very, very quickly. It went very, very fast. And not to mention, she downgraded. The thing about it is that when you are a woman, especially a woman who is beautiful, especially when you are a woman who is clearly successful, I'll be honest, I think a lot of women think that there is some man that is looking at her and thinking, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, she's so successful, I just want to love on her and dote on her and treat her amazing. When in reality, most of the time, there are men looking and they're saying, she's beautiful, she's successful, and I want to come in and I want to ruin all of that, right? I want to make her look bad. I want to humiliate her. I want to embarrass her publicly because she has a platform that she prides herself on, and I don't have that, and I'm jealous of that, and so I want to go in and I want to ruin that. Even if you don't have a platform, most of the time, men are purposely going to humiliate and embarrass you because they're jealous of you.
Now, before anyone tries to like spin the narrative or be super extremist on what I'm saying or my opinion, I'm talking about the majority. So anyone that feels like, oh, well, not all men, not my man, we're talking about the majority. We're talking about if you go outside, do a lineup, the majority, the average person, this is what you're looking forward to. If you had a daughter, a niece, a granddaughter, and she was dating, these are the majority of the people that you would want her to avoid. The person that you're looking for, that you feel like is a good partner, you kind of have to find those people or just stay in places where those people naturally, reside. But we're talking about the majority of people, where someone who might not have the tools. And another thing, when it comes to advice, whether you're someone that gives really good advice and people come to you for advice, or you're the type of person that doesn't take advice, like, Halle Bailey or whatever. Advice does not always trump experience in every situation. And what I mean by that is, no matter how much information and intelligence you have, if you don't have discernment, pattern recognition, if you don't have, a way where you've been able to build some type of rapport or experience in a specific situation, you can be very studious, very academically wise, and be completely like street, stupid in certain situations. So a lot of people feel like if someone gives really good advice, then their life should just be perfect, and that's not always the case. Or if someone maybe isn't good at taking advice, maybe this person, marched to the beat of their own drum, that they should have known better, or the one person deserves empathy over the other. When my personal opinion is a lack of experience. If no matter how many times somebody's run a game on you, if this game never got written down on you, you're gonna get played. That's the only good thing about game being ran on you, is that once someone does something insane to you, you can put it in your back pocket and use it as pattern recognition in the future, which is my point. So it's all about experience. And some people, they're very social people, so they get social experience more than other people. Some people, they're more introverted, so they have more emotional experience, spiritual, Some people are both. Some people are gifted enough and, they're open-minded enough to be both. But if you don't have experience in whatever is ailing you, you might have a little trouble, especially if the advice that you're given isn't good, or you're not the type of person to take it, you know? So my heart goes out to both of these girls. I think that, having a baby with the wrong person, it just sounds like a nightmare. It really does. And I've gone out my way my entire 20s to continue to not have that problem. Like, I'm not even going to lie, getting personal here. That's like a nightmare for me. Like, the thought of doing that is like insane. I don't know if it's just because like I don't want to be a black woman stereotype. And sometimes like I'm supporting single mothers and stuff, and I'll, like in a comment section or something, and someone will go, "Oh, you probably got 10 kids and you on Section 8 and did it." And I'm like, what? Like, I can't feel for somebody without being guilty of whatever you're accusing them of, and it just scares me. Like, what if I find the love of my life and we get married and something happens, now I'm a statistic, and my opinion doesn't matter? Like, it just sounds like a nightmare. So my heart definitely goes out to them 110%. And I also want to talk about how to avoid wanting to be the exception to the rule. Now, this is the exotical sphere, so some of us are naturally that by nature. But you kind of want to avoid that. You really want to give yourself the best possible outcome in every scenario by not wondering if you're the exception to the rule. And by that I mean, never feel like something is too above you. Never feel like something like that like can't happen to you. I don't want you guys to like live in fear or anything like that. But it's almost like you're attracting it if you act like something like that can't happen to you. You know what I mean? And you really just want to keep yourself safe and protect yourself, because there are people that will see that, like this situation right here, and will just be attracted to like fucking it up. That's why I really agree with the other girl said, where it's one of those things where, maybe if you weren't who you are, and I've dealt with this, where some people will think like you're being cocky, or they think that you think that you're better than them or something like that, and which is insane to say to someone who is super self-critical. But some people really genuinely feel that way, and it's so odd when it's your partner. So I know that there's like a fatigue going on. There's like black fatigue. There's like male, female, gender war fatigue. But I am really grateful for some of the videos that I've come across, because the idea that a man could be jealous of a woman, that is not something we learned as teenagers. That's not something we learned as young adults. That wasn't even something that you talk about. Like, jealousy is usually from women. Like, that wasn't even a thing. That was like a new concept to me that I learned within the last few years, So yeah, but I also want you to check out this clip too, because this was like it was like an epiphany. That's why I actually named my channel this, because this is not stuff that you talk about at the hair salon, at the nail salon. This is like some genuine, psychological, subconscious shit that you kind of just have to take someone's word for it. No matter how smart you may be at something, if someone is warning you of something or trying to put you onto something you might not know, don't be so quick to shoot down their message just because you don't like the messenger or you don't like something else that they said,
From this happening, we're the bad guy. Shira 7 gets so much hate from women because at the end of the day, A lot of women don't believe in pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is going to save your life. It is going to save you from a lot of turmoil in life when you trust and accept pattern recognition. One of the main things that the patriarchy does is they want to keep trying to sell to you that there are all these different types of men. Men say this online all the time. You should have chose better. You passed over a good man. They want to try to make it seem as if there are all these different pools of men. No, it's the same pool of men all wearing different masks. And when you have honed in on your pattern recognition skills, once you see it, you can't fucking unsee it. Smart women do very, very well understanding pattern recognition. So when you are a woman that understands, oh, a man is going to be led by his lust, and so therefore he's going to cheat. So therefore, if I'm going to deal with a man, it won't be for love because I'm not going to get love out of that. And pattern recognition has showed me that. The Wizard Liz, okay, Halle Berry, Beyonce, Rihanna, the top of the top women have been getting cheated on. So who do you think you are that it's not going to happen to you? Men are always going to be able to get over on women because men created the playbook to create your pattern recognition for them. Men know that most of you all want love, and men know that you all will do just about anything to be able to have romance and love from a man. You'll drop your career. You'll move away from your family. You will give up your hobbies. You will shut yourself up and lose parts of yourself to be in love. So they understand your pattern recognition, which is why they're able to get over on you. If you are a woman and you still watch movies and you're 30 plus years old and watching a new movie, you're not able to predict what's going to happen in the movie, you have poor pattern recognition. A lot of people that have really good pattern recognition, they don't like to watch movies. You want to know why? Because they realize most movies are predictable, okay? You typically are going to know what's going to happen next in the movie because most people have predictable behavior when you're actually paying attention. And stop trying to make everyone so individualistic. People are really not that individualistic. Men are not that individualistic. The only thing individual about a man is the persona, okay, the mask that he is going to wear when he's going to present to you, and the amount of time it's going to take for that mask to fall off. Those are the only two individual things that are going to make one man different from another man. The mask and the time it's going to take for him to drop it.
And this is another thing that I want to start talking about on my channel. I already bring it in spiritual terms when it comes to the Lilith consciousness, the Eve consciousness. That's basically watered down into the pick me versus the feminist in layman terms. But there are some other creators that really bring more life and bring more variety to these stereotypes, these prototypes, these archetypes that women are forced to pick a side via the Madonna whore complex. If you don't know what the Madonna whore complex is, it basically implies that where men love, they cannot lust, and where men lust, they cannot love. Now, there are, happy couples out there that have amazing sex lives, and that's great. If I've seen, I don't even remember what their names are. Hopefully I can find them. But there's this adorable, like, older elderly couple, and this lady, she keep her skin smooth, she keep her hair curled, she keep her jewelry on, and every night she has new lingerie for her man. And they just be so happy. I think they were like on some news channel or something like that. They went viral, like their love was so beautiful. So I'm not saying that you can't find a partner who loves you and cherishes you and thinks you're God's gift to mankind and that you're the perfect woman. But that doesn't mean he's not going to want variety. Like, in some men, the idea of their woman being like perfect, I think it's actually called the Princess Diana effect or something like that, where a woman is so perfect where he kind of like resents you in a way. I'm happy that every woman hasn't had to experience that, but the phenomenon of that alone is jarring. Like, that's alarming. You would think Beyonce, like, who would cheat on her? But it can be very intimidating to men. And sometimes they want anyone that's not their wife. That's the thing, And there's this other creator. I believe her name is Miss Sophia. I'm going to try to put a picture of her channel. And I like skim through her videos. I love her vibe. She's super chill. She gives like auntie vibes. Like, she gives really great advice, stuff that only an older woman could give. And I really cherish and value that. But she talks about, you know, back in the day, it wasn't just the wife and the whore. Nowadays everything is so extreme. And there were different ways. You could be a concubine, you could be a courtesan, you could be, you know, the type of woman who you just date, like, a professional girlfriend. Like, there's ways where you can live in hypergamy and have self-respect and deal with people who value you outside of either being on OnlyFans or being a trad wife. Like, those aren't your only options. And a lot of women, just like the lady said, once you see this psychology, you can't unsee it. And I think that's why some women really kind of get afraid of, and I understand some feminists can be very extremist and it turns a lot of people off, the misandrists and stuff. But a lot of women, like, they kind of just ignore that and they act like it doesn't exist. And then when people get blindsided, they say, oh, well, you should have known better, or you should have paid better, you should have known he was a pookie, or all guys that play video games, they're this. Like, no, like, this isn't about scrutinizing this woman or deciding who gets pity based off, how bad your boyfriend was, how bad your husband was, how bad your baby daddy was. This is about the fact that men, I like to think of them as, I think the word is symbiotic, where it's like a conscious beings, but they all have one brain, kind of like a hive mind, like where there's different little bumblebees, but they all are thinking the same thing. Men are kind of like that. And I've mentioned this in my videos so many times that men have the luxury of being whole, of being able to kind of just stay on code. Let's just put it that way. And women are always forced to pick. Always. So I want this to be like a lesson on pattern recognition, knowing how to call out certain things and not being too big to listen to other people's advice. Even if you feel like your advice is really good, with the advice that you give, don't ignore those warnings, And if you do ignore the warnings, if you do find yourself in this situation, just be graceful. I think even Nicki Minaj said it in a song. Ain't no friends in the game, you ain't learned that yet. I'm gonna keep it moving, be classy and graceful. And that's really the only way that you can do it. Because these type of people, and I saw this on someone else, I think her name was the Level Up Guru. She talked about this too. I saw that where she said something like, if there's someone bullying you and they're being like very obvious that they're bullying you, you can call them out and they'll stop. But if someone is more meticulous, if someone is more sinister, if someone is more, covert or subconscious, or, doing dark manipulation tactics on you and like provoking you, dog whistling you, doing things where in the moment it feels a little off, but you allow yourself to think, oh, it's not such a big deal. If someone is doing that to you, you really can't call it out, because then you become the problem. And that's where reactive abuse comes in. And, Halle Bailey, I saw her in this situation. So if you do find yourself in a situation, just come back to yourself. And I think Liz, her being really open and honest about this, it just makes me have so much more respect for her. Like 110%. And I want to get into some of the comments that people are saying about this, like, oh, like, you're supposed to be this coach about self-love, and you're with some gamer who cheats on you with hookers. A lot of people are trying to like shit on her and be weird towards her, and I just feel like that was just unnecessary. But I definitely want to get into some of the comments too. But like, yeah, in a nutshell, there's no right or wrong way to be a woman. So whether you want to be the type of girl that's like a lover girl, and marriage and stuff, like having a family that means everything to you, have that, but understand what comes with it. Because everyone knows the majority of men that buy porn, sex workers and stuff like that, they're married men, so that's just a reality that you have to accept, period. Like, you really can't fight that. And there are other women who do decide to go the other route, and they want to monetize their energy because they know that, they wouldn't be considered valuable without it. And, I kind of don't mind either way. But if I had a preference for women, I would want it to be a little bit of both. I would want you to know that, okay, men, this is how they are. This is their psychology. This is their mentality. How can I, get the best out of that? And people go about that different ways. Some girls choose to pick me route. They marry a nice guy, move out the way. Cool. but you're going to have to worry about him hooking up with other people. And I think about Ashira, and I remember people were saying to her, like, well, because she's younger and she married an older man, and she said that was, good because it helps with him not wanting to leave the house. But at the end of the day, like, most men, they have this thing where they just want to fuck anyone but their wife. As long as you're not my wife, like, great. And, someone was basically like, taunting her in the comments, like, oh, what if James sees this and he wants to step out on someone younger, da 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 da. James is Ashira's husband, by the way, if you guys don't know that. But she basically said, and so what? Are my kids going to college? Do I still got the deed to the house? Do I got this? And that's kind of the mindset you have to have if you want to be the rich wife archetype. I'm not saying you have to put up with anything crazy, but honestly, in my personal opinion, and I'm not married, so maybe I will change my mind someday. But I consider a guy seeing someone professionally and being super discreet better than him just having an affair or just sleeping around or, having a sex addiction or, you know what I mean? Some men, they're very discreet about their desires and they're not super sloppy about it. Like, there's just one particular thing they like where their wife doesn't do it, or they don't want their wife to do it. If their wife did that, she wouldn't be his wife. So no matter how sexy of a wife that you are, you're still a wife, and there's certain things that he might be into where if you do that, he might not even be into you. So you kind of have to like pick your poison. And I feel like regardless of what you do, if you want to be one of the girls that goes sprinkle, sprinkle, monetize your beauty, if you want to be the lover girl, and just pick someone who has the same morals and values as you and work with them. Or you want to be a little bit in the middle, like me. Like, I'm open to love, of course, but I'm not going to be oblivious to the mentality of men and how they are just because I think I got a good one. I think all women kind of go through that phase. That's why I like to give grace. But and not even just men that I'm dating. I'm talking about my own father, my own brother, men who I love, who defend me and, care about me and love me. But I recognize that this is your nature. Like, there's certain things where that's just how they are. And to be oblivious to that, I think it's kind of silly. So when it comes to Liz, my heart really does go out to her. But and a lot of people were saying the same thing about her that they were saying about Halle Bailey, that she kind of dated down, and they're both YouTubers, but she has more, basically the same thing they were saying about Halle Bailey, because DDG is not a bum, he's not a gangster, he's not, super ratchet, like he wasn't, super duper crazy, but it was obvious that Halle was on a bigger status than him. And a lot of people feel the same way about Liz's boyfriend, where he had clout, he had pull, but just, he wasn't as polished as her. And this is just, a cautionary tale on doing things just out of love as a woman. It's always going to bite you in the butt. So that's just my personal opinion on that, guys. We're going to get into these comments. But before we get into that, I kind of want to talk about the woman who did this, because I don't know what it is, but certain women, they just have like this, I don't know what it is. Like, it has to be some type of demonic, insane, like, entity, like, that lives within them, because certain women, they have like a kink for just humiliating, and I mean, bullying is an understatement. They have this thing where they want to decide who deserves to be looked at in a positive way or not, And I don't even think it was just the guy in this situation. I think the other woman too, because usually if someone is a mistress to a man, she's pretty quiet about it. The only way that a woman would come clean, oh, I'm sleeping with a married man, is if maybe he didn't pay her or something like that. But it wasn't, I don't know if it was that, or that woman has it out for the other woman and she doesn't even really like the guy. She's just trying to backstab the other girl because she's jealous of her. And that's exactly what this situation gave to me. And it's just really weird. So you gotta be on the lookout for that, you guys. Like, this is some stuff where no matter how intelligent and equipped and proactive you are in certain areas, when it comes to men, it's always going to be a wild card. And I always believe in vetting. And there's so many different ways to vet, different cultures and different religions, different people. They have different ways to do that. So I would say just do what works for you. But sometimes the vetting conversation can become a little bit manipulative, Because, or like, oh, but you should have chose better, or it's your fault, you chose a Pookie and a Ray Ray, or you should have known that he wasn't shit because he does this or he likes that. Like, no, like, that's not how it works. Now, some people are obvious, like, come on, girl, you knew what you was getting into. But some things, they really do blindside you. And if women aren't, and I noticed that a lot of women, they care more about bashing the woman in a situation than calling out the behavior of the men. They feel like, oh, well, men are already bad, so what are we going to talk about it for? Like, let's just da 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 da. And it really scares me. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Handmaid's Tale. If anyone watches that, please let me know, because I just finished the season finale and I would love to rant about it if anyone's interested. But long story short, there's like two different groups of women, and some of them just feel like they're above the other ones, and it's super sick. And when stuff like this happens, and it's not really about your political views, whether you're a conservative or you're a little bit more what's the word, liberal. It's not really about that. It's about your insides, about how you view your fellow woman. I know some girls be like, oh, I'm not a girl's because bitches, da, 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 da. And I get it. I'm not saying just because someone has the same genitalia as you that you have to agree with everything that they say. But if you're, and I said this before in another video, if your morals and your value system isn't rooted in empathy for not just your fellow man, but your fellow woman, like, what are we even talking about here? Like, I don't know. So my heart definitely goes out to her and any other woman who's been in this scenario. And yeah, it really does suck. I want to actually read the note that she put out, and this was really strong for her. And she basically just went and said that men want to lead the world but can't even control their lust. A man that can't control his lust will never be able to lead. That she's heartbroken and that her haters can celebrate. And it's just terrible. It really, really is. So if you are one of these people who likes to bully pregnant women or single mothers because they chose wrong and they should have chose better, you're sick, because that's not how it works. It's really not. So whether someone has a lack of experience and they don't want to take the advice, or they're a genius, they've experienced a lot, they're the people that people go to for advice, you can still end up in this situation. It's not about your beauty. It's not about your intellect. It's not about, if you a lady in a sheet, a freak in a sheet. It's like, no, this is men we're talking about here. So yeah, that's just something you kind of have to look forward to. And again, this is going to be not every single person. We already know this is the majority of men, unfortunately. But every now and then, there might be someone who doesn't deal with that. And another thing, this isn't really about do all men cheat. That's not really where I'm coming from with it. For me, it's more like, it's like a dog. Do all dogs bite? No, maybe not all dogs, but all dogs are capable of doing it. And in put in certain situations, you can count on them to do it. So, and I love my dog. I'm a dog mom. Shout out to all the dog moms. If you're a dog mom, please leave a comment. Let me know what kind of puppy you have. But I still recognize I have my childhood dog recently passed away. He was a terrier. He was really small. And I used to have small dog privilege. Like, I could put him in my purse, take him anywhere. Like, we would do anything. He was more like a street dog, so he got away with doing a lot of stuff because he was so little. But I have a pit bull now, and he's so sweet. And he's just like the sweetest dog in the world. But sometimes when we go to the dog park, other dog moms are like, shoo their dog away from my dog. Like, it really gives racism, low key. Like, high key. Like, if you was at a park and you had like a little black boy on the swing, a little white girl go on the swing, and the white mom take away the white girl, don't that give low-key racism? Like, dog racism. But that's besides the point. Anyways, I recognize the fact that my dog is a dog, and as much as how sweet as he is, I put him in little sweaters and stuff, and he's so cute, he's still a pit bull. And if someone gets a little spooked, I'm not going to, well, not all dogs. Like, are you serious? So that's just how I think about it, you guys. So let's read some of these comments. Someone says here, she gives good advice, but I never liked her angry, cynical, man-hating energy. No surprise she picked a guy like that when she doesn't give off healed, healthy vibes. I only watch a few of her videos, to be honest with you guys. I love like her manifestation, motivational videos, but she always seemed pretty level-headed to me, so I don't know. But someone else is saying there's something about his face that makes me distrust him. So, guys, something I've been getting into lately, it's called face reading, and it's really cool. And if you guys want a video on it, let me know, because I think it's really cool, and it proves a lot of my points in some of my other videos as well. Oh, and that also goes with the theme of the day, which is pattern recognition, you guys. We're going to get back to that towards the end of the video, though, because I want to go through these comments with you guys. But the next one here says, I always thought he looked kind of fruity and was pretending to be a nice guy. You know what I mean? Okay. Someone else says she's going to do much better. Someone else here says, when I first saw him, I didn't have a good feeling, and the way he was around her felt too performative. Now it all makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you guys want that facial reading video, let me know, because it's super interesting. And yeah, I've been seeing a lot of posts going around about it too. Someone here says, when you take one as an exception, and he reminds you why we don't do that. Yeah, like if you want to bet your life on it, go ahead, ladies. But I saw the trend of when you lose your spark and you have a baby and this guy, fucks you over. I wouldn't risk it. Like, I honestly wouldn't. Someone else says, honestly, it feels like this was his plan to destroy her. Even the coach couldn't choose the right one because there is no right one. I mean, isn't that so bleak to say? And I hate speaking absolutes, I really do. But I do believe that romance was kind of like a scam. And if women were aware, especially at a young age, of the nature of men, we probably would have made different decisions, Someone says here that he love bombed her, manipulated the whole situation, calculated every move, just to prove that an untouchable woman could be played. I actually want to react to a video that they dropped the other day, so let's go ahead and watch that. So I want to go ahead and do some analyzing in this video that was uploaded a couple days ago, but we're not going to watch all of it. I really just want to get into the parts that I found interesting.
Great. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to do a video with my husband.
What's up guys?
We're gonna do a Q&A.
Well, hey guys. Some of you may know me from YouTube back in the day. I haven't done YouTube in the longest time, but hi. Before we get into questions, I actually want to say something. So, look, I don't think any relationship is 100% perfect. I think that a lot of YouTubers will come on and they'll...
Okay, so outside of the facial reading, I've also been studying microaggressions and like micro face moving and what those little facial movements mean. Now, I know that she's had like some surgery and stuff, so that could be kind of harder to detect. So I don't want to project what I think it might be. But I know you guys saw that, like that look in her face when he said that. What he said wasn't necessarily wrong, but it's like, why say that now as soon as I hit play on the camera? Like she definitely fell off with that. You can tell.
Do like a Q&A about a relationship, and they're just gonna make it look like everything is rainbows and butterflies. At the end of the day, you get into relationships to grow. And a marriage, in my opinion, I think we agree on this. You don't want me to say?
And then he's talking about his opinion, basically differentiating his from hers and insinuating that they might be different. And it just gives division. It doesn't give united front at all to me.
Okay. A marriage is about...
I
think the purpose of life is creation and evolution. So you get together in a relationship with someone, you get married, you create together, you create success, a family, and then you evolve together. So honestly, for this Q&A, I don't want to like... I want to be real. I want to be real and just be like, yeah, okay, here's what it's like.
I always just say whatever I feel.
You're so beautiful.
You can just say whatever you want.
Hit that like button if you think Liz is just so beautiful.
Okay, don't do that, please.
Okay, so something else I picked up on, and let me know if you heard something else, but I'm going to tell you what I heard. I heard when a guy be like, oh, I just want us to build. Like I know he used the word create, not build, but it kind of gave that vibe. So, yeah. And then the part where he was like if you think she's so beautiful. You ever have like a girl compliment? You're like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, that's so pretty. And then low-key feel like she's giving you evil eye. Like, oh God, I swear this has happened to me. This is like a sidetrack story. But like, I remember one day I was like out and this girl, like she just kept complimenting my hair. And like I was doing something where like I like dye my hair and I always use the same box dye. It always comes out great. And I was like telling her about it. And then later on when I dyed my hair, like something just went wrong. And I didn't want to overthink it. But I have a friend, she's from a different culture than me, and she basically explained like they take that stuff really serious in her culture. To the point to where if you have a bracelet and someone compliments it more than 3 times, they will take it off and give it to you. So yeah, I found that really insane.
Don't do that. Okay, anyway, so how did you guys meet?
We've kind of told this a little bit.
We've talked about this before, but I want to clarify actually the story because I've seen some stuff online that's not true. But basically, me and Landon first met now 4 years ago.
Something like that.
Landon messaged me, DM'd me on Instagram, and he DM'd me a book that I should read. Then I was getting into my previous relationship, so we did message like back and forth.
Pretty much, one day I opened my Instagram, and this is when, I guess they still do it now, but you would get like recommended posts, and I think Liz's content was just starting to blow up, and so I got a recommended post about her account, and I saw her, and I immediately was like, oh my gosh, there's something special about this person. I don't know what it is. Obviously, you're so beautiful, but there was something deeper. And so I was...
Man, like, if you listen to people, they will tell you everything they mean. And this just gives energy vampire. It gives, I want access to your greatness, but only if I have dominion and control over it.
Like, I'm going to send her a message, what should I say? And then I realized, like, I just want to add value. Like maybe there's something I could like put you on. And so I sent her a book recommendation for a book called The Master Key System, which is...
And then even that. Now, and every day, you know, I'm like a bookworm. People recommend me books all the time. I don't see it as anything nefarious. But even just the way he said that. He didn't say, oh, I sent her this book because I thought she might like it. She said, oh, I wanted to put her on. Like, come on. She's Liz. Like, you know, she's going to upgrade you, if anything. And it's just insane to me. Like, I feel like he's definitely telling on himself. And this video was 3 days ago, y'all. So I definitely pick up on the vibe that there was just something off about this. Oh, and another thing that I want to pick up on, he said something like, and by the way, have you guys ever noticed that whenever a couple does one of those, oh, how did we meet, or 21 questions, or we listen and we don't judge, like one of those types of videos, like something goes terrible behind the scenes, I think it's like, I don't know, gotta be a humiliation ritual. But anyways, he said something like when they met, he brought her a book on manifestation or something he thought she might like. And I went and checked out his YouTube channel. Most of his videos are about video games and whatnot, which we'll get into that in a little bit later. But his last video he posted maybe like a month or so ago was a video about manifestation. And I just remember thinking he's really trying to sound like her, you know? And you're a gamer. Y'all could have connected on something where, you know, maybe she does manifestation, you do technology. There's a way where you can link those two things together and genuinely evolve together. But that's not what he was doing. He wanted to build off of her and make videos like her and read books like her and give advice like her. Like, I cannot make this shit up. Also, I was watching Queen Sovereign's live video and she mentioned something about their marriage not being real. I didn't know that when I started the video. I thought they were genuinely married. But I guess it's like a spiritual marriage. Which, oh my God, girl. Like, okay, so if y'all want me to do a video on Nature Boy, which I'm kind of scared. He kind of scares me, to be honest. So I will only do it if you want me to. Because I don't want nightmares. That nigga scare me. But like, these spiritual niggas with these spiritual marriages, I'm telling y'all, shit is a sham. But long story short, she mentioned Queen Sovereign, who I'm talking about. She mentioned the movie There's Something About Mary, and I haven't seen it yet, but I know the gist of the film, and there's this guy who's just enamored with this woman. Oh, she's so beautiful, just how Dew was saying in the video. And he's like obsessed with her, and he can't figure out why. And that's basically his mission, to figure out what is it about her, you know? And that's kind of what the guy was saying in the video. It gave really, really weird. Now, this is where I want to talk about intelligence versus intuition. And I hate when women feel like they have to choose. A lot of the spiritual girlies, they know the nature of men. But people call them misandrous or raging feminists or femcels when they try to teach people. And I hate that. Like, If you're a woman with a YouTube channel, stop talking shit about feminists. I don't care how crazy they get. If it wasn't for them bitches, you wouldn't have a YouTube channel, girl. Like, at some point, you got to be all the way for real. All the way for real. Do I like it when black people loot stores and burn down stuff when we're protesting? No, that sucks. The kids play at that park. But, bitch, don't you want to prove a point? And I don't know. It's just something that really fucking bothers me. But anyways, when it comes to intuition, only certain women... Now, I'm not saying you can't be both. There are plenty of women who are naturally spiritually gifted who just happen to love intelligence and love learning. But no one's going to be 100% at everything. And that's where we're meant to come together. For example, I did a video on Travis Hunter. He's a football player. And he married a woman who people are saying, you know, she's promiscuous and she's this and she's that. Every man in America is coming to this man's defense and aid to stop him from marrying someone who won't be good for him. Right? Some of these men are good men who are married and happy and just want this man to make the right decision. And some of these men are cookies and ray-rays, for a lack of better words. And they just don't want, you know, they want, if anything, him to be, you know, getting something from the woman and not her getting something from him. Even though they claim they want a traditional marriage and they want traditional wives. So it's one of those things where when a man is getting advice, he doesn't care who it's coming from. But women do. Let you be a feminist and a woman who you think is a pick-me say something now you don't want to hear it. You don't care about her intelligence. You just want to follow your intuition like that's something you should do 100% of the time. And let it be the other way around. Let, someone who's a little bit more liberated try to speak on something, but you consider yourself conservative. So now you cherry pick their talking points and decide, well, I'll take this. Well, sex workers, they're right. Married men do this. So I'm going to take that, but everything else is bullshit. I'm going to leave it. Like, be for real. And I really envy men because they don't do that to one another. So this is going to be about intelligence versus intuition. No matter how many stats you have, there's certain things in your heart that you should just know. And a lot of women, we kind of ignore that. We ignore non-tangible evidence of how we feel and what's going on around us. If it's not physical evidence, we kind of just throw it in the back of our head, especially if it's not convenient. Even I have done this. And I feel like the more in tune you are with your emotions and you study men psychologically, not just the ways that benefit you. A lot of women, they learn about the descent of men, they learn about male psychology just enough to get paid, just enough to get laid, just enough to make him stay. Not enough where you actually know who you're sleeping next to. So that's something that really irks me. Now, when I was a little girl, I used to read the Sherlock Holmes series by Sir Conan Doyle, I believe that's his name. But his character, Sherlock Holmes, if you're not already familiar with him, he's a genius, he's like a detective, and he uses something called deductive reasoning. And you can look it up if you want, but it basically means you start somewhere, like kind of like the opposite of the legal system, innocent until proven guilty, where everyone's guilty until proven innocent. And if you're using deductive reasoning, you're not so quick to judge someone. Like let's say if someone looks really unkept and they're scratching their arm, they look a little dirty, you could easily think, oh, this is a crackhead looking for his next fix. Or maybe this person woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe they have eczema. So the more signs you see from that person, you can deduce what is actually happening. You shouldn't just throw things onto people. But if you do want to throw things onto people, it should be a pattern that you've seen before. So now we're going to get into pattern recognition and how you can use that in dating and just in overall. They say how you do one thing in life is how you do everything. And I like to use my brain. So I know some people think it's boring. Some people like to go with the flow. I like to learn everything. I don't like to risk it. I like to deep dive into things. I love falling into rabbit holes and discovering things. It's kind of my thing. So I'm really excited to share this information with you guys. And I also want to play a video from a guy that I found who kind of explained pattern recognition through the eyes of a male and how he feels about this particular situation. So I'm going to play that for you guys right now.
She ended up going for a nerdy looking guy, thinking that's the safe option. And these days I see too many women think that there's something called a safe option. They think, yeah, okay, if I end up going for a guy that might be a little bit more nerdy, might not really go out, might not get a lot of attention, I'm putting myself up for success. But to be honest, that's far from the truth. And the reason I can say this is because I once was this nerdy looking guy. I completely understand how most nerdy looking men think. I completely understand how most men think in general. And thinking that a nerdy looking guy that is, to be quite honest, not on her par, not on her league, and giving him a chance is a safe option is just a false fallacy. You cannot expect a guy that's never had the male model looks, never had the status, never had a substantial life where other men look up to, women admire, to think that he's gonna be loyal. A man like that hasn't ever in his life felt the attention that a beautiful woman has felt, because the reality is a lot of times a nerdy man tends to be a weak man with no emotional control and zero options. And the reason I can say this is because I used to be that guy. I used to be completely invisible. No one really liked me for my...
So, yeah, I really like what this guy had to say, and it proves my point on pattern recognition. And a lot of people did feel this way about this guy that she's dating or whatever. And they feel like, he's a nerd, you're this, like, high-class chick, but you thought he was safe? And that's another thing. Calling other women bad choosers of men, or maybe you're just not skinny enough, maybe you're just not this enough, is kind of mentally ill, because, girl, you know the nature of man. You know how they are. I don't care if he's a nerd. I don't care if he's old. I don't care if he's from another country. I don't care if he's rich. He's still a man. And it's just kind of like weird that there are people that feel the need to be remiss about that and just want to shift the blame to women. Oh, we're not going to talk about men. You know how men are. We're just going to talk about the women. Really? So, yeah, I do find it really weird. And when I say I'm a girl's girl, this is what I mean. I don't mean I condone feminine behavior that is not, a part of my personal moral sets and my personal values. It basically means I'm going to support a woman because she's a woman. Like, why is that so bad? Like, do you know that there's no term for a boy's boy? Because men are just on code. Period. Like, it really, really irks me that women cannot understand this concept. Oh, I'm not a girl's girl because bitches be. Girl, you bitches. That's another thing. This is why I really stopped listening to rap music crazy, because you have to disassociate when you're listening to it. If every other word is bitches this and I'm going to do this to a bitch and it dawned on me that I'm the bitch. And same thing with like Chrissy and the colorism content. I'm like, yeah, these evil light-skinned bitches, until it dawned on me, wait a minute, I'm the evil light-skinned bitch. So it's one of those things where it's really insane. And I hate the division between women. I think it's just counterproductive. So when I think about, there's another YouTuber. Her name was Sniper Wolf, and she was dating or married to this, I'm not even trying to be funny, this ugly guy. He looked like the Mucinex germ from the commercials, and he played the shit out of her. So I've seen this archetype. I've seen this happen. These beautiful, successful women get with these gamer guys or these older men or these sissy men and think, oh, I'm safe because he's not a gangster or because he's not black or he's not this or he's not that. Like, girl, like, be for real. Like, be all the way for real. And it kind of reminds me of the host Sky Jackson or Kiki Palmer or Halle Bailey, where these women are dating these men super beneath them. Like, it boggles my mind. And another thing is, like, it's kind of like Pandora's box or Eve biting the apple. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And I think that's why some women just, oh, you just chose the wrong one. This is more efficiency. Just do better. You'll be okay. It's like their brains are fried. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, if my brother or my nephew gets a girlfriend, of course I'm going to wish the best for them. But if I see that things aren't going well and it's from my side of the family fault, I'm not going to gaslight that girl. Well, you just chose wrong. Like, be for real. Like, even with my own blood, I can accept the fact that men are men. And a lot of women want to be the exception. They want their little boo to be the exception. Who knows? Maybe you might be. There always is. There's always an exception to the rule. But I wouldn't be so loud. And it's another thing that Queen Servant said that I found super funny. Men will be like, oh, Just be this type of woman. Do this. But they never name the woman. They always act like every girl didn't do something right, or if Beyonce would have did this, Jay-Z wouldn't have cheated, or if Halle would have did that, DDG wouldn't have acted this way. But they never give an example of who this perfect woman is, because everyone has flaws. And on the women's side, they always act like there's this dream unicorn man that if you just get skinny enough and go to the right bar, wear the right dress, or don't wear your natural hair, you'll bump into him. But who is this nigga? Who? They never give an example of who the guy is. Or they don't show their own person because they know somebody's going to get at them. The same way with Liz, this husband, someone, and mind you, I haven't even gotten into that part yet. The girl that he created this Snapchat to cheat on Liz with came and told Liz everything. Like they were best friends. And it warms my heart, you guys. It made me so happy because usually in these situations, the women fight and it just boosts the male's ego even more. And this was just handled so beautifully and with so much grace that honestly, I'm applauding them. And this is how you do it. Being a girl's girl, no matter what. Even against your husband, who you think is the exception. So, yeah, don't let anyone tell you that, oh, you're just bitter, you're just old, that's a trauma response, you have limiting beliefs. Girl, this is science, this is statistics. Now, I do believe in some of those things to a degree. A lot of people can sabotage themselves and hold themselves back, but that's also used as like a weapon to try to tell other women, even with the whole Halle Bailey situation. Everyone wants to say, oh, we warned you now, but when the warning was happening, people treated women and tried to warn her like, oh, well, you just picked the wrong guy. Don't project that onto her. And now all of a sudden, we told you so, we told you so. Like, I just find it really interesting. But yeah, when it comes to Liz, she's falling from grace of grace. The fact that she was able to talk to this other woman and be so upfront and honest about it, I can't imagine a more graceful way to do something like this. I can't imagine what she's going through. And I'm not really too worried about it. I know she's a very strong woman and she doesn't have like betrayal wounds. So when someone does something to hurt her, she will cut them out. Like she's not going to sit there and, try to go back and forth with a guy. Like she's not going to do that. And I think that all women should be like that as much as we can. And it's one of those things where no one can take that away from you. No one can destroy your reputation unless you let them. No one can. Obviously, there are people that go out their way, so let's be for real here. But for the most part, don't let someone destiny swap with you, even if it is your man. Like, don't let that shit happen. And for the people that have a problem with her leave, because some people would say, oh, well, you should stay, get your family back, da-da-da-da-da, it was one mistake. No, that man waited until her belly was too swollen for her to turn back on this and did this to her. This was very strategic. This wasn't, oh, innocent boys will be boys. No, like, cut it. And another thing, even if she does want to remain a single mother for a while, I heard that, men always try to do this thing, oh, fatherless behavior, da-da-da-da-da. But I heard that if a child turns out good, it's not about whether the father was in the household or not. It's how happy the mother was. If the mother was happy and positive and just super happy every morning like a Disney mom, singing little tunes and stuff and baking pies and cake, your child is going to be okay. And she seems very level-headed, very mature, and I know she's going to do just fine. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little bit of a rant, but I kind of wanted to get everything out there. If you got to the end, thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.